Good morning. Our topic today is AI for all, unlocking the AI potential for India. So when we think about potential for India in the context of AI, and we know that in the recent past, in the last maybe couple of years, with the generative AI, the new kid on the block, it has become everybody's flavor. Earlier, it used to be only a few academicians or industry celebrated what's called artificial intelligence. It was around us for quite long. And what is in it for India to take it further? That's a question that we have in front of us. We'd love to start with opportunities first, right? That'll be the best way to. Let's look at from the demographic dividend perspective that India do have today. We know that we have a large percentage of population capable of producing or contributing towards economic growth of a country. And how can we leverage in this era of chat GPTs or generative AIs of the kind? What is in it as? How do we take it further? The first thought that comes to my mind is we know that writing a good article or an email or an essay, we were considering this as a interesting skill and definitely contributes towards this cause, right? And if you look at the recent past, if you're from academia or from even from industry, you must have seen that beautiful emails are hitting our mailboxes. And we attribute most of it to the generative AI, right? I mean, maybe generated by ChatGPT. People who, we used to figure out like early, maybe a few years back, when you get an email from your student and you try to figure out, hey, what's in it? And how can you figure, what is being talked about? Now, it's primarily because it's not well written or properly constructed. Today, you get an email and you may have to go back to the dictionary and figure out, what is in it, right? Because they must have used a generative tool to write that email. So in the context of new technology developments, how do we look at skill as an opportunity? Writing an email was a potential, or an essay. An article was a skill earlier. And somebody has prompted the new AI machinery, which is the generative AI, to generate a good email. Can we think of generating the right prompt as a new skill rather than writing an email? Is prompt engineering a new skill? And if India want to leverage the new developments in this space, the AI space, further, do we have to reposition our skilling to leverage the new age technology, including AI? That's the first question that I want to ask. Probably yes, because the technology landscape is changing. Prompt engineering or leveraging AI or such technologies for increasing, for contributing towards productivity increase is possibly one of the opportunities that India should look at large. Does that end there? No. If you have to really leverage the demographic dividend that we have, one is skilling. But we know that technology landscape is changing in a fast pace. Right? Every other day, today it's ChatGPT, tomorrow, and we know that creativity also is getting addressed. We may not be able to get to that perfection that a human does, but we have engines or generative AI which can generate probably the next tomorrow's fashion, maybe a little of music, can even create a small video. In this context, since the technology landscape is changing, do we have to invest in our new generation, upcoming generation on L&D, that's basically learning? Do we have to enable continuous learning? Skilling is one aspect, probably continuous learning is the next aspect. So that's one of the opportunities that we have that's in front of us to potentially position our budding talent in the area of AI. That's the first thing. That's the first dimension. Leveraging AI to take advantage of our demographic dividend. That's the first aspect that I wanted to touch upon. The second thought that comes to my mind is, access to many of the services, including, say, medical care. We do have technologies for telemedicine. Can we deploy AI at scale where access to such facilities can be provided to the entire nation, especially the rural areas, where deploying a high-quality resource, a human resource, may not be very practical because of various reasons. Availability is one. Can we leverage technology, including artificial intelligence, at the edge where the human in the loop will provide services at scale, which would definitely reach the rural? So that's another dimension. Can we use it for efficiency, effectiveness of our systems? I can also think of probably judicial systems. We know that the pendency of the cases in Indian judiciary is pretty long. Can we leverage AI or technology in various stages of processing in the judiciary so that there is a human in the loop, but still the process become much more efficient? That's another question that I have in front of you. Third is, of course, quality of education, right? I mean, when it comes to delivery, dissemination, can we leverage AI? So the second dimension is leveraging technology or artificial intelligence for improving our processes, systems, governance systems, and things of that kind. That's the second thought. What is the third dimension that we can think of? Can we use artificial intelligence for sustainable development initiatives, SDGs? There's an area called AI for sustainable development. Think of a context where humans and machines work in tandem, collaborate. Think of a collective where the collective is a collective of machines, probably we may call it smart machines, and humans working together and trying to solve probably a drinking water problem, right? So we may not be able to deploy highly specialized skill in every part of the country. Rather, we can have, we have large penetration of handheld devices, including the mobile phones, low-cost devices which can sense possibly quality parameters of water, and with a intelligence at the edge, able to figure out whether this water is drinkable or not. It's not a big deal. We can develop such technologies. Think of people collectives leveraging such technologies and all these data coming together, and we have a big data program, which is where the data being collected by the collective, being analyzed at the edge, probably on large volumes. Decisions are being aggregated at a level where decision making happens, can be at multiple levels of hierarchy, and ultimately you have a system which is effectively driven by people, by the collective, leveraging technology with less load on the governance infrastructure and trying to address a governance problem. So these are three thoughts that I want to put in the mind when it comes to opportunities. One is, the first one being leveraging India's demographic dividend. Second, use AI technology for improving our processes. Third being for sustainability. And that's about the opportunity landscape I just want to start with. The challenges perspective, I have a few thoughts. Of course, the first thing that comes to my mind would be on responsible use of technology. Responsible, I'll come to details later. Any technology can definitely contribute towards good. At the same time, can be misused also. AI is not an exception. One of the interesting dimensions that we should understand here is most of the so-called celebrated artificial intelligence in terms of the generative AI or artificial intelligence is built around mimicking our human brain, which is called the neural network. So we mimic the human brain, and that's being trained by giving it a lot of data and then probably tuning it according to the context, right? There is a pre-training followed by tuning based on the context. That's what it is. So there is this AI, there's this artificially made brain which was given a lot of data, and this brain or this artificial brain remembers or keeps an abstraction about this data, what it has seen, in terms of certain weights connecting artificial neurons. Now I ask this question to this model. How do you store the data, this set of data that I've given to you? Right? It can only tell you that, hey, I've got some weights. Can you relate these weights to the data points? And I mean, how does these weights change when these data points? Probably it can explain. Or if we ask you the question, if ask that model the question, can you explain what you are? Right? You are a connected collection of, you are a graph, connected set of nodes with some weights. Can you explain how does this, I mean, what does this weight mean to me as a user in terms of the data points with which these weights are being derived? The answer is no. So it's mostly a black box. That's a first dimension. The second dimension is people are talking about explainability in different sense. Hey, there is a model. The model has given you an answer, right? So the model has taken your profile, your profile data and decided that, hey, you're not worth a credit card, right? You're not worth a credit card. You should not be given a credit card. There's no credit worthiness for you as an individual. Now I ask the question, the model, right? How do you take that decision and why do you take that decision? That's another area that's being developed in the context of responsible AI. This is called explainable AI. Explainable meaning their decision, a particular decision can be explained. Here also, the explanations are made around most of the cases. The model that's sitting, the abstraction that is sitting is a black box, and you're asking this question. I want to explain what I did as a model. So let me cook up an explanation, right? That's what's happening. That's explainable part of it. Do we have to be responsible with leveraging? And there are multiple case studies across the globe talking about it. We'll come to that as we go along. That's the first dimension, challenge. Definitely responsible use of AI. That's the first challenge. The second challenge that I want to pose is, we are aware of the human-animal conflict, right? And now we are getting into the human-machine conflict, because there is this machine which is smart enough, leveraging technology and able to take decisions on behalf of humans and taking decisions. And when a decision is being taken in the interest of an organization, and there is this human on the other end who is again a stakeholder, how do we handle and India is a pretty large country, and when we deploy such systems, this will affect the lives of many. And how do we handle the conflict between the machine as an entity, or probably the representation of the organization in terms of machine? Because we are getting into an era of what is called distributed autonomous organization. I'll come to that later. So an organization which is smart enough, and then there is a human or the society at large. How do we handle the conflict? That's a second challenge probably we may have to face. There's one more challenge, and I'll stop with that. So we had machines replacing muscles, right? And muscles got replaced, which resulted in we having machines allowing us to do a morning walk, right? So when muscles got replaced by machines, our muscles wanted exercise. And now we are getting into a context where some of the activities of our brain are getting replaced by AI. Are we getting into an era where our brain would require exercises? Every day morning you walk up and then decide, hey, let me repeat my 4th standard mathematics so that my brain is still alive, right? Or active. Are we getting into that era? With that, I would pass on to Shalini, my panelist, for her comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Asharaf. And your example of brain getting exercise is really interesting. So I'll just spend some time on the journey that I had in AI in the last few years, and that led me to write the book AI for You, the New Game Changer. So I wrote this book actually during COVID times, which is now, it seems like 3 years back when it started. And the reason for that is because I was working in the area of AI for last several years. It was definitely in the lab. AI was just in the lab. What has happened today and what you see, and the fact that we are discussing AI in a literature festival, is that AI has become a societal revolution. each one of us know that we are touched, we need to be touched, and there is a lot more that we can do as a society with help of AI. So essentially when I wrote the book was about AI mindset. How do we change and get ready for the revolution of AI which is about to happen? Of course, in 2020, when I was writing, the revolution had not happened. The change happened only in the last 1 year maybe, or 9 months I would say, when AI became mainstream. So the idea was to get mindset ready. And when I say mindset, what is an AI mindset? An AI mindset is that how do you prepare yourself and your business and your life and your skills and your organization and your culture to get ready for the onslaught of AI. What has happened is that in the last few years, there is a lot of fear of AI. While there is promise of AI is also very big, but there's a lot of fear of AI, that it's going to take over us, or it is, going, and there are a lot of biases in it, which of the society, which is going to get reflected into the AI models, which can take decisions in the wrong manner. So the fear of AI is as big as the promise of AI, and also the confusion of AI. There is a very big confusion of AI because people don't understand and everybody sees it from their own perspective. So my objective in the book was to address the fears, address the confusions, and say that the promise is something what we can achieve in the promise in our domain, in our circle around us. Which means that if we have to change the mindset of AI, we have to think about what should be the right strategy going about, what could be wrong, what can go wrong if you start implementing AI, or what should be the right, and what should be the process that we should look into AI. You cannot apply AI blindly and randomly into any process which comes in front of you. You have to think that whether it is going to give you the output and whether it is going to give you the outcomes that you have set it for. The outcomes could be in terms of efficiency, it could be in terms of cost, it could be in terms of better decisions that you want to be taken. For example, I remember, applying AI in a hospital for cancer research a lot of years back. It was too early in the game. It took us a lot of time to convince the doctors that why an AI model should help you in a cancer research. But think about it. Today, the amount of patients that you have, one doctor in a hospital is seeing probably 8,000 patients for cancer. But if there is some AI model which can help the doctor, not just give the direct answer, but help the doctor, that is a game-changing help every doctor would need. And today the doctors are asking for it. So while we worked with doctors some 8 to 10 years back, today the doctors, because they have seen that AI has become mainstream, they are coming and reaching out to us and saying, give me a model which can search through all the medical papers and tell me specifically about pancreatic cancer of this particular type. So when there is a hyper-localization, when there is a huge amount of information which is available, which a human cannot sift through, then it's a right process. So that's what we discuss in AI strategy, that what is the right process that we should go for. What I've also discussed in the book is not just about technology, and that's what I want to focus on, that AI is not just about technology. AI is a lot about it's about talent, it's about what new roles which are going to come up. And the new roles which, and I keep getting this question in every forums about AI making lose jobs. And I keep saying that, remember the tech industry where, the tech industry in banking and finance, today the fintech industry is the largest industry and it has grown in multi-million dollar within India itself. And there was a time in 1980s I'm sure some of you are very young to even remember what 19, or you were not even born there. But I was a school girl in 1980s, and I remember that there was a huge amount of strike by bank employees because computerization was going to kill them. So how it has changed and how the fintech industry has come today is a big area. So talking about AI in terms of the new jobs, and that's where the new jobs are not the tech jobs. The new jobs is about the AI ethicist. An AI ethicist is a person who looks at the ethics of AI from a societal perspective, whether it is having bias in terms of gender or race or age or culture. So all that is built into it, and you need humanitarian effort to make it happen in a better manner. And that humanitarian effort, please understand, humanitarian word contains human. It is going to come from humans. So the need of humans in this effort to make the talent possible itself is huge. AI is also a lot about culture change. Culture in terms of acceptability, in terms of understanding what it can help and what it cannot help. It is really important that we understand the human into the loop and understand that how our organizations, if we want to change them, we have to be open enough. So the openness to accept and making it that acceptability happen in your enterprise or in your organization or in your area is extremely important. And that can happen only when you look at use cases. I mean, I'm sure you're going to listen to some great use cases from Ankush, who's my panelist along with me. There are very good use cases which are India-centric. And that's important that we understand the India-centric use cases, because that was another objective of my book. When I said, why do we always talk about what Netflix did or what, some of the, global cancer research has happened? Can we look at health and nutrition today in our own world? Today, Healthify is an app I'm sure most of you would be having that uses AI to give you nutrition advice. Today, if you go to Kotak Mahindra Bank, you are using AI. There's huge amount of AI being used behind it, and that's the reason I studied these use cases like Max Life Insurance, Kotak Mahindra, Healthify, pretty much Nirmay.ai, which is a breast cancer screening using AI models. How much help it can be given to women in villages who do not have access to hospitals or to very heavy machines which detect breast cancer. So the AI mindset, I'm going back to the same thing. It is about culture. It is about talent. It is about strategy. It is about the innovation that you can bring in through AI. It is about the design that you need to bring in AI, which is the users, because AI has to be used by users. It cannot be. And by the way, at the behind, and Dr. Asharaf will tell you that there are good neural networks and GPT models which run behind it. There's a lot of research which happen. But how do you make it user-friendly so that it's consumable by billions, not just consumable by a few thousands? So these aspects are so important, and it needs designers, it needs people from sociology background, commerce background, humanities background to make it happen, and not just the maths and science, what we normally talk about. And of course, in the book, I do talk about technology, but technology is the one thing which goes obsolete the moment, you talk about it, literally. So, in fact, my book was released just a few weeks before GPT models became so rampant into the world. So, and there is only 3 pages in my book about GPT models, because actually once they were out, and I talked about GPT 3.5, and GPT 4.0 is out, and there are, the number of parameters, the number of billion parameters people are tuning models for is increasing day by day. So technology gets obsolete, but what doesn't get obsolete is the thinking, is the culture, is the way that you plan and strategize the use cases that you want to do. So that's the background that I wanted to talk about, and we'll talk more about AI bias and AI ethics and explainability as we go ahead in the session. But I would like Ankush to talk about some really exciting work that he's doing in India.
Yeah, thank you, Shalini. Thank you, Dr. Asharaf. And thank you, Kerala. Thank you, Kochi, for inviting us here. To now talk about AI for India. So what aspect should I take? I see the audience, they're young guys, they're experienced guys. The topic is so huge. So let me just tell you, I think now we all now know that data is the key ingredient for AI. And since you're talking about India, India now has the highest population. And we generate data just by living life, right? The individuals are generating data, companies are generating data. It's just a matter of being aware of this, collecting the right data, using it right way. We'll talk about it. But it's very, very clear, India has the highest potential to be the leader in this AI space. Because of population, yes, and because of the young population, and the virtue of that, we are producing a lot of data which is required for any AI systems. Now, if I talk about why AI now, we are talking AI now a lot, right? As Dr. Shalini said, Gen AI has come now. But it's also, you see, were we not working on AI earlier? We were, right? 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we were working on this when this Infosys, Wipro, and these kind of companies have shown the technology part to India. So we were also working in AI. But the difference was we were creating AI products for Western countries. We were helping other countries to generate data, and then they were able to use the data, monetize the data for their good. Now with the startup culture, the young culture, and the whole entrepreneurial mindset which we see now in India, we have now started thinking about creating AI products in India, which we were doing even earlier also. But now we are trying to make sure those AI products are created considering India in the mind, so solving India's problem. Even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when we used to create software products, we were told, hey, think about the US audience or the Western audience, they are mature, consider them when you create the product, consider the user experience for them. I don't think we think any more of that sort now. So we now try to build products for Indian users. I was so happy, I was in Dubai last week and I tried to open Zomato and Zomato was not working there. It was working when I went there last year. And then I checked what happened. I've seen the founders' discussion around it. Said, India is huge. There's a lot of opportunities here in India. We have shut down all overseas operations. Huge validations, right? So it's not, people have done it. So it's not like they could not do it. They have done it. And now, looking at the opportunities, they are rethinking and considering India, considering Indians as the audience and the beneficiaries of the technology and creating it. So, see, I'm thinking too much, right? So I know I'm not able to put the right point to you, what I'm trying to tell you, but I think that's the case everywhere. Even technologists are not aware what is the use of this technology. So there are two aspects going on. One is the researchers, we working on building technology. That's one aspect that will continue happening. It will probably narrow down, right? So now it's large language models and, people are trying to come up with one product which will solve the whole world's problem. It's okay to have the blueprint, but that's never going to happen, right? We need to think about the use cases and solve it. But what I'm trying to tell everyone, you think AI as a disruption what computer has brought to us. So now people think AI in healthcare, AI in travel, AI in banking. I think we should stop thinking about all of that. So do we now think where computer can be used? Can computer be used in healthcare? Can computer be used in education? Computer is there, we have to use it. Right? Do we think, hey, where else internet can be used? Oh, in this field, internet should not be used. So it's now part and parcel of our life, whether it's individual or business. So let the AI be like that, right? So now we should come out of these discussions, and all of us, whether I'm a student or a doctor, an engineer or a pilot, so question yourself, question your bosses, question your teams, peers, family. How do we use this technology, right? So now we all try to see where the AI should be used, or computer should be used, smart automation and all that. We have gone that way, right? So now I think we should just be obsessed about trying to find use cases for AI. Let's stop what Word is doing about the next innovation in AI. We have enough technology now which can solve most of the problems what we had. In fact, I always think now the horizon of humans should increase. Earlier we had made terms with few problems. We were thinking, hey, we will not be able to solve these problems. But now I think with AI we can think more, we can remember more, we can predict more. So now I think we should dare enough to try to solve the problems which we earlier have decided, no, let's live with that. So I think, as I was saying, India, the highest population and the young population, and literacy is not bad, around 75%. So I think if we all think about solving problems alone or with your friends or with your teammates or whatever way, I think we would lead this. It will be a storm from India. I think let's show the world. Yes, someone else would have created some kind of technology, but we are the implementers. We have created, if not a million, maybe 1 lakh products with real use cases using any technology. So now I'm not sure what is this going on in India, right? Everyone is saying, hey, I am building this large language model, I am building this technology. So that's good. But earlier what was happening when someone came up with, say, Java? So did we question Java, or we started using Java and started automating stuff? So it's okay to build another technology like Java, right? So think about the programming word. But the most important is use this Java, right? Use this whatever ChatGPT or any technology and see how we can solve the problems. As I was saying, we have now enough technology, enough references, enough success stories to believe AI works. We should not have any doubt about it. And jobs and all that, I'll not talk much about it. It's all just to talk, right? So you just use that technology and start building products. Another good thing what has happened with AI is we don't need to be engineer or technologist or AI expert to use the AI, right? So as Dr. Asharaf was saying, that the prompt engineering part of it, right? So you can actually create technology products or use technology products without knowing technology. But what is important is we should know currently what exists, how is it being used, and start using that in your own domains. I think important is still the basics. If whatever field which we are in, education or travel or healthcare, of course we should be good at the field where we are working, and try identify the use cases, the problems, and where the AI can be used. So few examples, as Dr. Shalini was saying, yes, we have done enough work for India. We got more than 1 billion users who have used the virtual assistant created by us. So let me not talk much about it, but the idea is our vision, I'll tell you my vision, our company's vision is we want to let every citizen irrespective their education level, literacy level, what language they speak, they should be able to leverage the benefit of technology. They should be able to use any technology product the way they interact with another person. If they're requesting someone to do something, they should be able to request by voice to request the technology product to perform on behalf of that user. So yeah, so we build virtual assistant. We support 22 Indian languages by text and around 14 languages by voice. We do video bots. We make interactive digital twins. So again, we are always confused. Now we did it. This is again a technology, but which problem we are solving? We don't just get excited with the technology. Either we build it or we use any open source or we use any proprietary tool. It's not just about the technology. We do it or someone else does it. But the crux is the mode for us is what problem we are solving so that it actually solves a societal problem. And once you solve the problem, you make money, you grow as individual, you grow as team, society, and as a nation we grow. So I think if somehow, I'm not sure if we can come up with some kind of campaign where we be the biggest implementer, India being the biggest implementer of AI, not just technology, right? So many LLMs coming out of India, so many technology products coming out of India. So yes, the products which would use AI and should actually solve the problems. And again, if I think about large language model, so even if I come up with, say, industry-specific large language model, just pick up healthcare. So even if I pick up healthcare, that is still not narrow. That will still not solve the problem because healthcare in metro cities is different from healthcare, say, in other tier 2, tier 3 and village. So the way I would ask a question or I would request the virtual assistant LLM based in metro would be totally different way a person in the village would ask for the same problem, right? So what I'm trying to say, the big is okay to have that shapes up the technology landscape, but once we come to real usage and implementer of use cases with AI, think very, very narrow. It could be maybe healthcare in maybe a village which is more maybe Malayalam speaking, right? So think about it. So even, see, we have created Bharat GPT and it's not solving all the problems of Bharat, right? So that's why it's kind of framework and we are partnering with organizations, the government, so that we create the derivatives, say if it is Kerala GPT powered by Bharat GPT. So the idea is as you narrow down, we will actually be able to solve the problems. So one analogy, if you think, right, if it's a PhD scientist, you ask a question to a PhD scientist, they will not exactly give you immediate answer, right? Because they have so much knowledge, they have so much experience. They would think many things, right? And then still, they might still give you few questions or few suggestions and they will let you decide instead of they giving the exact answer because they have a lot of wisdom, they have a lot of data, right? And so we need those scientists, but we also need very practical advices, right, for the common people. This is a problem I have, what should I do? Say, do this, right? So 80% of the time it should work. And that would be possible only with seeking suggestion from someone who is specialized and not too much research oriented, has limited data. So, right, the same, the small language models now, right, SLMs. I think if someone is technologies, you want to work in AI, think about SLMs, region-wise, industry-wise. But again, no need to do much of that if you don't want to get into technology. But everyone, irrespective you're educated or not, irrespective, I'm not promoting not being educated, but we are what we are. So, but we can still use AI and make difference for your life, your family, your society, and then things would progress India level and world level. I think let's leverage the strengths we have, and the ecosystem is so good. You want to seek help, I'll tell you, many people ask me, what your father does, and I tell them, yes, he got retired. So he was from very humble background. He was a government employee. But then people ask me, how do you know so many people? Yes, now I know so many people. And how it happened, I actually wrote to them, right? Even I dared enough to write it to say, Honorable Prime Minister of India, the ministers of India, people like Shalini, all the head of corporates, all the startup founders, and any person I've written, as Sanjeev Bikhchandani, Vijay Shekhar Sharma, and the IT Minister of India. And so you try to write to them, and I think if there is a genuineness in whatever you really want to do, people are there to help you. The government, bureaucrats, the corporate, the startup, technologists, academicians, researchers. I think everything is within us, within all of us. I think all major macro systems are there. They'll keep growing and consolidating. High priority checks would keep happening. But I think let's check ourselves. We have huge potential. Just try to make something. You want to do alone, do it. If you want to partner with someone, solve it. Think about the problems, right? Go out. You have come here. Think, what is the problem? So maybe the AC is a problem. How do we give kind of good weather in the beach side for the panels like this? So think around instead of coming up with the ideas, right? People say, "Mujhe idea aa gaya, I got an idea, I'm working an idea." So think about the problems. Have the problem mindset. Have the problem identification mindset. And maybe today you might come up with 10 problems, right? Then pick up which is a good enough problem to solve, big enough problem to solve, which is not just for this event, it can be scaled to other events. And once you identify that scalable problem, you'll be able to make the business out of it, right? People should be ready to pay to solve for that problem, and then think of the right solution to solve. I think of that, think of the problem, then start working on it. Even if you're not technology, that's fine. You can still build solutions with AI. Yeah, so thank you, sir, so very much for listening to me. I'm not sure I structured my thoughts or not, but I conveyed what I really wanted to. Thank you.
Thank you, Ankur. Shalini, thank you for bringing in the context of human into the technology. Human AI, I mean, human in the loop becomes very relevant. And you talked about mindset, right? Do you think a regulatory framework will have a role to play when it comes to mindset? Because a responsible use of technology and human and technology working in tandem would be the way to go ahead. And how regulatory framework can affect the mindset of people, because it's going to affect many positively. And in that context, how do you envision the role of a regulatory framework?
So let's understand why do we need regulatory framework? We need it because we need trust, we need fairness, and we need unbiased opinions. And this is true of any society. As humans, we want to, trust is the very basic thing that we want to do on each other. And the trust on AI models is so essential because it is fed by data. It is going to be fed by humongous data, I should say, right? There is so much of data, and then the data is all written. It could be structured, unstructured. It is written by people. There is so much of information which is available on internet or within the organizations. So what is the trust mechanism that you can have? That's point number one. How do you trust it? Is there a framework for trust? And is there a scoring mechanism for trust? is there a scoring mechanism for fairness? And yes, there is. There are several organizations who have put up the fairness mechanism in terms of saying that how is the output of the AI model fair, which means it is free from bias, it is giving the output as desired and as what you want the input to be, so that it doesn't have output which could be against a race, against a gender, against certain sections of the society. So as human beings, we have to have the checks and balances. For example, today images, there are so many AI-related images which are getting generated. How do you differentiate that this is an AI-generated image or it's an actual image? Now, if you see in advertising or even in book publishing or in these industries, it is really important that you do your work fast, and if there is an AI-generated image which is of use for me, I would like to use it. Like, a very simple AI startup called Sarvam, they use Open Hathi, and the Hathi is actually AI generated, because that's their logo of Open Hathi. So if they want to use it, there's nothing wrong in it. But of course, it crosses a boundary in a society if an image is distorted, and we know of some of the issues which have happened in a society when certain female actresses' image has been changed. So it is important that you have a framework into place which says that is this output of help or of benefit, or it utilizes time and it benefits a society, or it actually disparages the society. So that kind of frameworks, and today there is technology available, that like there is a technology available to watermark the images and say that is this AI generated. So you can actually do that's the beauty. The technology gives the answers also of all the checks and balances that we can put together, which will help us preventing the wrong usage of AI. So the regulatory framework, whether it is put by a government or whether it is put by an industry or whether it is put by an organization for their own processes, is needed, and it does help. But the idea is that as AI policies, we should be able to cater to that.
Thank you. Thank you, Shalini. So I'll just put one more question to Ankur, and then on to the audience. Please make your answers very short. Question is this: post 2018 floods, my team could, with 10 volunteers from across India, we used a open source AI tool to collect one window, all certificates in one window. It's called Certificate Adalat, which basically run across Kerala. It's done by my team. It was possible primarily because AI was open source. So there was open knowledge out there. The question to Ankur is this: enabling technology or providing technology in multiple languages and building that and making it available is one aspect of it. How do you think open knowledge become a critical component here? And is there any initiative pan-India to make this knowledge accessible to masses so that problem solving at scale would happen? Over to you. Thank you.
Yes. We are also attempting, if it's about the language, Bashi, which is from the government, is doing great work in compiling data from across India so that the language is not a barrier. Anyone can just access any literature, right? So everyone is trying. Bashi is trying. Bashi has gone live, and they are live with around 22 languages, so that even if there's a lot of Kerala session happening here, you can use Bashi to read and understand those sessions in English also. So they do speech to speech, Kerala to English translation, Kerala to Hindi translation, English to Kerala, so all these languages. So that is about the models. But it's very, very difficult to, again, India is so diverse, to have one model or one product which has all the information. So I think we're trying to think of maybe creating Google for India. Again, Google also sources data from other websites. I think it's very difficult, but I think instead of thinking how to make that ocean, think about how do we identify those springs and the small sources. I think that's all should start from here. Let's start today. So let's request the organizers give us access to all the videos, content of this session, and create a model, have all the Kerala Festival 2024 content in one model. Ask any question, ask for any video snippet. You ask where this question was asked, right? It should point to that video. It should give answers based on the content. So I think we would be able to create one giant knowledge base for India, provided we start from today. What do I see today at my home, in my teams, or in my company? Let's start building it, and then we'll think of aggregation. Aggregation happens once those things are there. So instead of thinking maybe one big model and then we'll never be able to start, think from small now, today, then we'll be able to reach there.
Thank you, Ankur. And over to the audience, we have another 6 minutes. We should be able to address at least, yeah, please.
Yes, I have two questions. The first one to Ankur and Asharaf, may I please answer. Sociologically, we are post-society, mankind now. And technologically, the age of AI is blooming. My question is about the ethical content of application of AI. For example, in the book written by Harari, he pointed out 21 lessons for 21st century. The AI-driven machines could also have some ethical dimension. A car is driven by AI. It will have unethical issues, a confusion, do or not to be or not to be. Then how will you address this ethical component of AI-driven machines? My second question is to Shalini. Madam, we have much talk about the governmentality of Foucault, and the feminists presented the governmentality by algorithm, or government by algorithm, algorithmic governmentality. Now it is the time of AI. How would you see the government by AI or AI-driven governmentality? Thank you.
Thank you for the interesting question. Bias in AI happens not because AI as an engine, right? It's being trained by data which is sourced from the society. So this data which is biased, and that's a part of society that comes into AI, and AI get trained. And there is classic case in the US judicial system called Compass, right? You can read about it. It's basically, it talks about when a already convicted person applies for a bail, the AI says whether he'll repeat the crime or not. That's what Compass is all about. And it so happened that the blacks were, the data was biased, or rather, they were not truthful in that sense. And what happened is the blacks had a lot of issues it's called Compass. And that is being taken by the judicial ecosystem here. So my the first comment would be, it's not AI's problem, it's a problem in society. And the answer to that is there is human in the loop. And human in the loop, because end of the day, whether you apply or not, even India's the AI white paper is not titled AI, it's titled Responsible AI. And there it clearly states that constitutional rights takes priority over anything, right? Even if it is decided by the best of the breed AI technology. So ethics definitely plays a role, and the societal, human, individual, public good, that should get extended to the technology, and regulatory framework should address that. At least in the current context, that's the dimension we are moving in. So, and just to add to that, compliance is one aspect. Compliance and ethics are two different things. I completely agree. Ethics is all about a behavioral pattern and doing the right thing and doing things right, which is primarily mandated by compliance, right? And doing the right thing is all about ethics. It would require the human in the loop, and human will definitely play a role. The society will definitely play a role.
So I'll answer your second question, and thank you for asking this, because AI by the governments is actually going to create a big societal impact. So why do we say so? See, in the government, what are the top societal things that government has to solve? Healthcare, education, skilling, and reach out to citizens at large, right? And today the government is doing and introducing, not just introducing, but bringing up AI in a massive scale in all these segments. For example, I mean, I'll take an example because Ankush is here, and we all know railways, right? We have booked tickets in trains. Today, Ankush's organization has made Disha app, so you can use AI to book train tickets on a chatbot. Use the Disha app. That is the best usage of reaching out to citizens and how you can totally transform. Remember the way train booking was transformed several years back. Today, AI is again changing it. Similar examples in education. Education and skilling is going to have a massive transformation for AI. In fact, I work with organizations which are really, creating virtual tutors for students in tier 2, tier 3 cities and in villages. So an AI bot helps in telling them simple questions and answers which they think they have in mind, but they cannot have an access to teachers. We all know that the access to teachers is such an important thing in primary schools. And skilling, I mean, there is a company which I work with, they have made every child an author. Just imagine a 7-year-old child, if he or she wants to become an author, they really want help. They don't want AI to write the books. They want the child to write the book. But what does a child, how do you structure your thoughts? As an author, we all know structuring the thoughts, the flow, the way you have to write, you need some help. So an AI bot helps in creating that structure. And the third is health. Health is totally getting transformed with Ayushman Bharat digital mission, and it's AI which is helping in doing the insurance for health in PMJ, which is the Pradhan Mantri Jan Ayodhya Yojana. So you can get an insurance claim when you walk into a hospital. All the authentication is done by video analytics and text analytics. So AI can transform the government, and government is doing a lot of efforts in that area.
In the interest of time, I think we'll stop here, and we can take any questions offline. Thank you very much for the patient listening and the interesting interaction. Thank you.